Hey, welcome to a new video. The Grand Grimoire, often referred to as the Gospel of Satan, is a medieval spellbook believed to possess considerable power. This mysterious text is attributed to Honorius of Thebes, a figure said to have summoned the devil during its creation. Generally thought to date back to the 16th century, the Grand Grimoire gained notoriety during the French grimoire craze of the 18th century. An edition published in the following century further fueled its legend. The original manuscript, or a possible duplicate, is believed to be kept in the Vatican secret archives, which are not accessible to the public. It's speculated that it was written around 1520 and later discovered in the so-called Tomb of Solomon. Some believe this text may have been inscribed in Biblical Hebrew or Aramaic, enhancing its ties to the biblical King of Solomon, and solidifying its reputation as a formidable book of magic. The Grand Grimoire is known for magical spells and narratives that describe the corruption and satanic conversion of newly appointed popes. Among its most notorious content is guidance on summoning Lucifer. Would you dare to read this book?
Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video.
Beneath Vatican City lies the Vatican necropolis, an ancient Roman burial site believed to house the tomb of St. Peter. The term necropolis is derived from Greek, meaning city of the dead. This intriguing site is located approximately 16 to 39 feet, or 5 to 12 meters below St. Peter's Basilica. The existence of the Vatican necropolis remained hidden for centuries, until excavations in the 1940s unveiled its mysteries. The discovery of this site dates back to the early pontificate of Pius XII, 1939 to 1958, who initiated archaeological explorations around the Vatican Confessio, as well as the central part of the sacred grottos. During these excavations, brick structures from the 2nd century were uncovered. These structures later became the foundations of the First Petrine Basilica in the 4th century. The construction of the basilica was a monumental task that required moving over 1.4 million cubic feet, or 40,000 cubic meters of earth to level the double slope of the Vatican Hill. Estimates suggest that 22 tomb buildings uncovered during the excavations were designed to hold around 1,000 burials. Among the buried were men, women, and notably children, with inscriptions revealing the names of several individuals from families of imperial freedmen. 50 years ago, Ludwig Heinrich Makrovich, a Soviet architect and restorer, passed away. In recent years, his name gained notoriety in the West, often linked to the narrative of being one of the many individuals caught in Stalin's purges. He was reportedly killed due to his knowledge of extraterrestrial matters, with official accusations labeling him as a spy for the Vatican. In 2011, the Russian publication Top Secret claimed that his work at the Vatican involved studying manuscripts that suggested ancient alien contact. The claim of him being a spy arose from his visit to the Vatican in the 1920s as a young architecture student, where he was granted access to the Vatican's secret library. In this library, he allegedly discovered manuscripts that detailed extraterrestrial civilizations and beyond across Egypt, Israel, and Mesopotamia. These texts purportedly described the pyramids as energy machines, further fueling speculation about ancient alien encounters. Some time ago, UFO enthusiasts reported an extraterrestrial anomaly captured in an archived photo above the Vatican. This latest alleged UFO sighting has generated excitement among conspiracy theorists online. In October 2007, a photo was taken featuring the iconic dome of St. Peter's Basilica, in which a suspiciously shaped object can be seen to the right of the dome, which some believe may be an alien spacecraft. UFO hunter Scott Waring has weighed in, asserting that the shape of the unidentified flying object closely resembles that of a flying saucer. He noted that UFOs have been spotted over the Vatican before, but the orange UFO appears as a disc when viewed from the side. Scott also shared an account from an alleged original eyewitness, who remains unnamed. This individual recounted that he had never noticed the flying disc while taking numerous photos from Rome's Pinco Piemonte. The UFO only appeared during his review of the photos after returning from his travels, as he had seen nothing at the time of the photo being taken. Have you ever heard of the roles the Vatican and the Red Cross might have played in smuggling Nazis out of Nazi Germany? Both the Red Cross and the Vatican played significant roles in helping thousands of Nazi war criminals escape after World War II. An extensive collection of internal documents reveals how Red Cross travel documents were mistakenly issued to Nazis amid post-war chaos. These documents shed light on how notorious mass murderers like Adolf Eichmann, Joseph Mengele, and Klaus Barbie escaped capture by Allied forces. Researcher Stein Archer, by comparing travel documents, discovered that Britain and Canada accepted about 8,000 former Nazi members in 1947. He discusses these findings in his book, Nazis on the Run, which proves crucial insights to the mindset of the Vatican. However, the Vatican has consistently refused to comment on these matters, and its archives remain closed to the public post-1939. Steinarcher indicates that the Red Cross, mainly operating in Rome and Genoa, issued at least 120,000 of these travel documents. Notably, 90% of the ex-Nazis fled via Italy, mostly to Spain and both North and South America, primarily to Argentina. The cursed relic of Judas is most commonly associated with the 30 pieces of silver that Judas Iscariot received for betraying Jesus Christ. This sum is steeped in Christian theology, symbolizing betrayal, greed, and malediction. According to the Gospel of Matthew, Judas was compensated with 30 pieces of silver by the chief priests in exchange for his betrayal. The 30 pieces of silver are often interpreted as a reflection of Judas's remorse and guilt, as they represent the price of betrayal. In the cultural context of time, this amount was not particularly large, indicating that Judas's actions were driven by more than just financial incentives. Hidden away in the secure vaults of the Vatican are the actual 30 pieces of silver believed to have been paid to Judas. While the existence of these coins is steeped in legend, they are thought to carry a profound burden of misfortune and suffering, impacting all who come into contact with them. Some tales suggest that individuals who possess the coins or even gaze upon them may experience bad luck or even spiritual torment as a result of the curse associated with Judas's actions. When pilgrims gather in St. Peter's Square, they often arrange to meet with the phrase, "meet under the obelisk." This remarkable Egyptian monument serves as a sundial, beautifully framed by the colonnade designed by Gian Lorenzo Bernini from 1656 to 1667. Standing over 82 feet or 25 meters tall, the obelisk, crafted from red granite, is a magnificent monolithic structure that commands attention. If the obelisk could speak, it would recount 3,000 years of history. Originally positioned in the central spine of a circus that would later become known as Nero's Circus, it holds witness to pivotal moments in Roman history. Notably, on the night between July 18th and 19th in 64 AD, a catastrophic fire engulfed Rome, devastating the city for 9 consecutive days. In a bid to shift the blame from himself, Emperor Nero accused the Christians of igniting the flames, igniting a period of 300 years of persecution against them. The historian Tacitus famously articulated that if the obelisk could indeed speak, it would testify the great number of Christians that died in Nero's circus. With 50 miles of shelf space, the Vatican's secret archives house an extensive collection of documents. In 1881, Pope Leo XIII decided to make the archives accessible to serious scholars. Believing that the general public should not have access to the documents and correspondence of the nobility, as a result, amateur historians and students are excluded from viewing these important documents. Scholars who are granted access must renew their credentials every 6 months and are allowed to review up to 3 folders per day. Although some materials date back to the 8th century, they are quite fragmented and rare. The medieval collections mainly consist of letters and bureaucratic documents starting around 1205, though such items are limited for that century. By the 14th century, the archives contained a wealth of papal letters, petitions, and various administrative documents. These documents detail the Pope's efforts to negotiate with the Mongols, their mission to China, and even the establishment of an archbishopric in Beijing. Additionally, the archives provide insight into the papacy's attempts to broker peace during the 100 Years' War. A notable papal document from 1493, issued by Alexander VI, officially divided the New World, granting Spain greater control over newly discovered lands and establishing a territorial division between Spain and Portugal. The sculpture Morning Star by British artist Paul Fryer was installed in 2008 at the Holy Trinity Church in Westminster, London. This striking piece depicts Lucifer, the fallen angel, ensnared in a web of telegraph wires. Crafted from materials such as wax, concrete, aluminum, rubber cord, and feathers, the sculpture presents Lucifer as a dark figure with large white wings. The choice of the Holy Trinity Church as the installation site adds layers of meaning to the artwork. Built in 1828 to commemorate Napoleon's defeat, the church ceased functioning as a place of worship in the 1930s. Fryer's work often intertwines religious and scientific motives, prompting viewers to reflect the intersection of faith, technology, and human ambition. In recent years, the Morning Star sculpture has been removed from the Holy Trinity Church, and its current location is not publicly documented. Conspiracy theorists claim that the statue of Lucifer in Holy Trinity Church is a symbol of satanic influence, intended to empower dark forces. In the year 897, the Vatican witnessed one of the most astonishing events in history. The corpse of a pope was put on trial by his living successor. Pope Stephen VI ordered the exhumation of the body of Pope Formosus. He dressed it in robes and placed it on the papal throne to stand trial. During the trial, an earthquake occurred that shook the room, and later commentators interpreted this as a divine sign. However, Stephen VI, undeterred by this ominous event, continued the proceedings. Ultimately, the dead pope was found guilty of usurping the papacy. Stephen VI declared all acts of Formosus as Pope null and void, thereby invalidating all consecrations, appointments, and ordinations made during his papacy. In a final act of humiliation, 3 of his fingers, used for the benediction of his lifetime, were severed, and his lifeless form was cast into a river. Could you imagine going to a church to seek guidance from a specific saint, only to see that saint floating above worshippers in photos you had taken? A young Spaniard, accompanied by fellow students, visited the parish church of Salvador and Holy Nicholas in Madrid. Their aim, to seek intercession of Saint Joseph of Cupertino for success in their final exams. As they were preparing to leave, the young man decided to take a picture of the church, unaware of the extraordinary revelation awaiting him. Upon viewing the image, the student was astonished to discover a figure hovering above the church, a figure he deemed to resemble Saint Joseph of Cupertino. Born in 1603, he was famous for his mystical experiences and alleged ability to perform miracles. One of the most famous aspects of Saint Joseph of Cupertino's life was his ability to levitate while in prayer. This extraordinary sign of holiness was witnessed by many people, and during the investigations preceding his canonization, 70 instances of levitation were recorded. In L.B. Taylor's book, The Ghosts of Fredericksburg, this phenomenon is referred to as the gentle spirit. This ghost is known for its reluctance to interact with people compared to other spectral entities. The story takes place in 1858 within the walls of the church as it stands today. A woman named Ella McCarty was at a choir rehearsal in the church when she saw a woman kneeling at the altar rail, dressed in a white robe with a veil covering her face. After a few moments, the figure stood up and cast a sorrowful gaze at Ella before vanishing into thin air. Further tales of strange occurrences in this church contribute to the eerie atmosphere. According to a man named Mark, local police officers have reported unusual behavior from their canine dogs, especially nearby the balcony door. Despite officers locking the doors at night, they often find them mysteriously unlocked during later checks. Footsteps echoing through the empty sanctuary and the sound of creaking pews add to the unsettling ambience. Even the caretaker who works in the cemetery next to the church has reported feeling a presence behind him, accompanied by a touch on his shoulder, only to find that there's no one there. The mystery of time travel becomes even more intriguing when someone claims to have witnessed a significant historical event through a time machine. This scenario unfolded when an article emerged asserting that an actual crucifixion of Jesus Christ had been captured on film. The device responsible for this extraordinary feat was dubbed the chronovisor. This tale begins with Marcello Pellegrino Inerti, a respected Roman Catholic priest born in 1925. He was renowned as one of the most prolific exorcists in Venice, and was also an expert in Gregorian chants. Additionally, Father Inerti was recognized as a notable scientist of his time. He claimed that he was part of a team that had successfully invented the chronovisor, a purported time machine. Inerti claimed he had witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus firsthand. To bolster his assertion, a photograph was published, allegedly showing Jesus on the cross, captured through the chronovisor. In addition to his claims about the crucifixion, he stated that he had also used the chronovisor to view the lost Greek play Theestus. If we're to believe the story, the chronovisor is one of the best kept secrets within the Vatican archives. The origin of this video remains shrouded in mystery, as does the location of the church where a fleeting moment from these women's lives was captured. While weddings are often steeped with hopes of perfection, this ceremony took a darker tone. A sense of unease grips the spectators as they witness a mysterious figure without a jaw whose presence seems to cast a shadow over the joyful occasion. Some people claim that the mysterious individual had a creepy aura, evoking a sense of threat among the wedding guests. Not only does the lower half of his face appear to be missing, but it's the look in his eyes that comes across as sinister. The man's grin and menacing gaze only serve to exacerbate the feeling of discomfort, leaving the attendees in the church unsettled and apprehensive. In the solemn moments before the exchange of vows, and as the couple is about to be joined in marriage, an unexpected and extraordinary event unfolds. Just as the officiant prepares to declare them husband and wife, the groom is suddenly overcome by a force of the Holy Spirit, initially starting as a subtle jerk, barely perceptible to those gathered in the sacred space. But then, as if a divine presence descends upon him, the groom's body is seized by a series of involuntary movements, his limbs contorting in a manner of defying all explanation. His face reflects a mixture of astonishment and awe as the spirit moves within him. Some spectators are uncertain how to react and become concerned. For is this a sign of manifestation of divine intervention, or a sign of the presence of the Holy Spirit? The Sicilian Mafia is notorious as one of the most murderously immoral organizations in the world. Like other factions of Italian organized crime, questions have arisen regarding the potential alliances with the Vatican. In response, the Vatican's dicastery for promoting integral human development established a working group aimed at excommunicating Mafia members. In 2024, it was revealed that Giuseppe Pignatone, the lead judge for the Vatican's civil tribunal, was under investigation for allegedly favoring the Mafia in the closure of a 1992 probe. At the time, Giuseppe, who assumed his Vatican role in October 2019 and recently oversaw the Vatican's trial of the century for various forms of financial crime, was an assistant prosecutor in Palermo. This complex web of connections continues to raise critical questions about the relationship between organized crime and the Vatican. Could a visit to the picturesque town of Lakova in Czech Republic change your beliefs about ghosts? In this small village nestled in the Czech countryside lies the eerie St. George's Church, where the abandoned aisles are filled with ghostly white figures, seemingly beckoning visitors inside silently. Built in the 14th century, St. George's Church once stood proudly atop a hill, a beacon of faith for the town's inhabitants. But fate took a dark turn in 1968 when a tragedy occurred during a funeral, causing the roof to collapse. The devastated locals, fearful that the ghosts inhabited the church or that it was cursed, abandoned the building and chose to hold their masses outside. Over the years, rumors spread about the ghostly inhabitants of the church, attracting curious visitors from far and wide. Upon entering the church, visitors encounter a chilling sight: the altar and pews filled with ghostly white figures, frozen in solemn poses as if trapped. Inspired by the eerie atmosphere and history of the church, an artist who once lived in the area recruited his classmates as models. Covered in sheets and encased in plaster casts, they were transformed into ghostly statues that now populate the church, adding to its eerie ambience. In this video, recorded during a holiday outing, a seemingly normal moment takes a chilling turn when a mysterious figure suddenly appears in the mirror reflection of a door. Some people familiar with the church believe it to be the ghost of St. Oliver Plunkett. St. Oliver Plunkett was a revered figure in Catholicism and holds a significant place in history as the last Roman Catholic martyr to be executed in England. His gruesome death stands as a testament to his unwavering faith and steadfast dedication to his beliefs. Following his death, the remains of St. Oliver Plunkett underwent a remarkable journey, ultimately finding their resting place in St. Peter's Church in Ireland. Since June 29, 1921, his head and various other relics have been venerated within the hallowed confines of the church, serving as a focal point for pilgrims and believers seeking solace and spiritual guidance. The appearance of a figure in the mirror of the door in the video arouses intrigue and curiosity. Could it actually be the ghostly presence of St. Oliver Plunkett? Or is it merely a play of light coincidentally captured by the camera? In 2018, the Vatican launched its annual exorcism course in response to a rising interest among various Catholic communities worldwide. Approximately 250 priests from 50 countries gathered in Rome to learn how to identify demonic possession, as well as share personal experiences with fellow priests and explore the rituals associated with expelling demons. This week-long course, titled Exorcism and the Prayer of Liberation, is noted as the only international lecture series of its kind. Since its inception in 2005, attendance has more than doubled. The program costs €300 or £260 or $370 and delves into the theological, psychological, and anthropological aspects of exorcisms. Father Gabriel Amorth, known for his work as an exorcist, passionately defends both his role and that of the Association of Exorcists. Amorth has addressed over 70,000 cases of demonic possession, asserting that the devil is a pure spirit and invincible. He describes how a devil manifests through painful blasphemies from those he possesses and can remain concealed, speaking in various languages and transforming his appearance. Amorth notes that it sometimes requires 6 or 7 assistants to restrain a possessed individual, who may even regurgitate nails or shards of glass. It should have been the happiest day of their lives, but for the bride and groom, it quickly turned into a nightmare. As they stood at the altar, exchanging vows in the church for a ceremony, an unexpected intruder opens the window behind them, disrupting the ceremony. His audacious act left the wedding party bewildered and speechless as they tried to comprehend what was happening before their eyes. Initially dismissed as a simple mistake, it became clear that his intrusion was quite intentional. With a smirk on his face, he relished the attention, knowing that all eyes were on him. The priest attempts to restore the order to the ceremony, instructing guests to return to prayer. But you can be sure that the strange man will be the talk of the guests later. At the moment of capture, an Irish woman observed a captured ghost outside a church in Co-Wexford. The 44-year-old Karen from New Ross recounted how the eerie photo caught her attention at St. Mary's Church in the town. As she sat home on a Saturday evening, Karen noticed snowfall when she got up to the kitchen. The church, conveniently located across the road, prompted her to grab her phone. Her son followed her outside, but the street was deserted. She took a few photos before returning indoors to share them online. As she sat upright in bed, she studied the images and realized there was a ghost in one of the photos. Locals speculated about the identity of this mysterious figure, initially thought to resemble a monk or female interpretation. Built in 1210 by William Marshall, the church has a rich history, with stories of the dungeon and secret passages circulating among the locals. Despite mediums offering various theories, Karen leans towards the idea of an old woman possibly passing away near the church. In 2017, Pope Francis sought forgiveness for the Catholic Church's involvement in the 1994 Rwandan genocide, during which approximately 800,000 people were killed. Following a meeting with Rwandan President Paul Kagame, the Vatican acknowledged that some Catholic priests and nuns had succumbed to hatred and violence, participating in the genocide. From April to June 1994, Hutu extremists claimed the lives of an estimated 800,000 ethnic Tutsis and moderate Hutus. The violence rapidly spread to the capital, Kigali, as well as throughout Rwanda, fueled by the Presidential Guard and radio propaganda. Tragically, about 200 priests and nuns, both Tutsi and Hutu, were among those targeted. While others were complicit, the Naturama Catholic Church is one of the 6 major memorials in Rwanda. A notable case involved Father Athanase Saremba, who ordered the demolition of his church with 2,000 Tutsis sheltering inside. The Catholic Church's reputation was further compromised by its long-standing political affiliations with the ruling Hutu elite. For nearly 15 years, an archbishop served on the central committee of the ruling party, even as it enacted policies that discriminated against Tutsis. Here we see the chilling moment when a ghostly figure lurks outside a local church, sending shivers down the spines of all who behold it. Unfortunately, there's little info available about the video and where exactly it was recorded. As the video footage unfolds, attention is drawn to the church doorway, where a vague ethereal form materializes. According to local legend, the origin of this ghostly figure apparition can be traced back to the tragic incident during a fierce storm. It's said that a nun met her untimely end when a loose roof tile fell from above, claiming her life in the fury of the storm. Since that day, the ghost of a nun who died under unresolved circumstances haunts this church, her restless soul still tethered to the surroundings. The Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion symbolizes Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo faith, shrouded in legend and reverence. Some even claim that the Holy Ark of the Covenant resides here. Located in the ancient city of Axum in the Tigray region of northern Ethiopia, it rests in the shadow of the imposing obelisks of Axum. Access to the inner sanctum, known as the Old Church, is restricted to men only, except for the Blessed Virgin Mary, symbolizing the Ark. The church has endured destruction and subsequent rebuilding on at least 2 occasions. Tragically, against the backdrop of the Tigray War in mid-December 2020, reports of a chilling incident emerged. Allegedly, 750 individuals seeking refuge inside the church perished at the hands of militants. While suspicions arose about an attempt to steal the Ark, no concrete evidence supported these claims. The Codex Vaticanus, a manuscript from the same period as the Codex Sinaiticus, was included in the first library catalog at the Vatican, created in 1475. Unlike the Codex Sinaiticus, the origins and history of the Codex Vaticanus remain uncertain. However, it's widely believed that it was likely produced in Egypt, most probably in Alexandria. This assumption is based on a strong tradition that emerged in Alexandria starting from the 2nd century BC, which emphasized the creation of accurate copies of secular texts. The Codex Vaticanus is considered to be one of the manuscripts closest to the original text of the New Testament. In 1843, a renowned manuscript scholar was granted a brief opportunity to examine the manuscript for just 6 hours, following a lengthy wait of several months. 2 years later, an English scholar was permitted to view the codex, but he was not allowed to conduct a thorough study of it. What do you think they found in the manuscript that they want to hide so much? Let me know in the comments. On a gloomy day, as the bells of Lincoln City Cathedral rang out, a man was determined to capture the beauty of this cathedral on video. But little did he know that on this day he would encounter a terrifying encounter with the supernatural. As the bells chimed, the camera just caught something around the corner, a mysterious figure lurking in the shadows behind one of the pillars. With a mix of curiosity and bravery, the man decided to confront the eerie figure. Every step he took forward thickened the atmosphere with a suffocating tension as he approached the ghostly apparition. His camera captured every nerve-wracking moment, but as the man with his heart pounding in his chest got closer and decided to look behind the pillar, the eerie figure before his eyes suddenly vanished. Britain has its own collection of famous ghostly apparitions. Among these eerie tales, the story of Newby Hall in Yorkshire stands out as an intriguing example from the 1960s. Newby Hall, an elegant 18th century estate, serves as both a family-friendly tourist destination and the backdrop for a mysterious event. The infamous Newby monk, also known as the ghost of the Newby Church, emerged from a photograph taken on the grounds of the Church of Christ the Counselor in Newby Hall. This photo was taken in 1963. It revealed no sign of the mysterious monk figure present in the image. However, upon development and subsequent dissemination, speculations wildly varied about the identity of the vaguely human form. The indistinct face of the ghostly figure, shrouded behind a white haze like a death shroud, led to theories of leprosy or other facial deformities that may have been concealed. In 2021, it was revealed that the Vatican might have funded the Elton John movie, Rocket. In 2021, it was revealed that the Vatican might have funded the Elton John movie, Rocket Man. The revelation followed a controversial decision by the Church regarding same-sex unions. The Vatican's Doctrine Office stated that the Church cannot bless these unions, asserting that God cannot bless sin. This declaration was approved by Pope Francis, who has shown support for gay couples. The announcement sparked outrage among many in the LGBT community, including British singer-songwriter Sir Elton John. He took to Twitter questioning how the Vatican could refuse to bless gay marriages while simultaneously profiting from investments in a film that celebrates similar themes. In 2018, an Italian newspaper claimed to have found evidence of the investments made by a fund partly financed. In 2019, an Italian newspaper claimed to have found evidence of investments made by a fund partly financed by the Vatican's Secretariat of State, one of the most influential departments within the Vatican, overseeing everything from church administration to diplomatic affairs. According to this claim, over $4 million were allocated to finance the production of various films, including the latest Men in Black installment and Rocket Man. In response to these findings, Pope Francis ordered a reorganization of the Vatican's financial operations, stripping the Secretariat of State of the funds it managed. This next photo, reportedly taken during a religious service in a church, sent shivers down many people's spines, as it was claimed that the devil had appeared in the church. The post went viral in the first weeks of April 2018, showing a sinister figure menacingly standing by the door amidst the pews and the altar. With demonic features, a pale face, and a hunched posture, the being seems to be watching over the churchgoers in the hall. According to the post, there was an accompanying audio clip of a passage from the Bible, citing and claiming that the photo was taken by the pastor's sister-in-law. The strange thing about this audio message is that it mysteriously disappeared from the internet. The message emphasizes the authenticity of the figure and encourages viewers to zoom in and see the chilling reality for themselves. As the message spreads like wildfire across social media platforms, speculation runs high. Is it really the devil himself manifesting within the confines of the church? What do you think? As the joyful celebration of a wedding unfolded with the sacred walls of a church, an icy presence made its unexpected appearance in the background. All of this happened amidst the laughter and merriment of the guests in the church. The figure, shrouded in a white veil, appeared sorrowful, but who it was or where the figure came from remains a mystery. For some, seeing this apparition evoked whispers of tragedy, a bride whose life was tragically cut short by a car accident shortly after exchanging her vows. However, others embraced a different supernatural explanation and attributed the appearance to the presence of a guest spirit. In the view, the veiled figure represents a restless spirit, hovering between the realms of the living and the dead, bound to the earthly realm by unfinished business or unfulfilled promises. The veil covering the features of the figure adds to this mysterious allure, concealing any semblance of identity or emotion. The scandal involving the Vatican Bank in the 1970s primarily revolves around Michele Sindona, an Italian banker with connections to both the Vatican and organized crime. Known for his controversial banking practices, Sindona was often referred to as the Shark due to his ruthless business tactics. His involvement with the Vatican Bank led to significant financial scandals that shook the Catholic Church. His connections extended to various political and criminal organizations, including the fascist propaganda do. Sindona's banking empire began to collapse in the mid-1970s, particularly after the collapse of Franklin National Bank in 1974. The Banco Ambrosiano scandal, which came to light in the late 1970s and early 1980s, was one of the most significant financial scandals involving the Vatican. An audit in May 1981 revealed that the bank had made $1.4 billion in questionable loans to shell companies, many of which were based in Panama. In the next video, we see insects crawling everywhere in a church where people are praying. Meanwhile, every inch of the floor, most walls, and even the air is filled with hundreds of insects. In many spiritual traditions, insects are often associated with symbolism related to purification and renewal. From a biblical perspective, an influx of insects can be interpreted as a symbolic cleansing of the church, purifying it from impurities or negative energies. However, at the same time, insects are used in some biblical stories as instruments of divine warning or even punishment. An insect plague in a church could be a sign of a divine displeasure or a warning of the congregation to repent and return to the righteous living. Would you continue to attend the same church if you discovered it's suddenly filled with armies of apocalyptic insects? The Resurrection sculpture was created in 1977 by the Italian artist Perico Fazzini and is located at the Paul VI Audience Hall of the Vatican. What you see here is Jesus Christ rising from a nuclear explosion, symbolizing rebirth after a devastation of war. This choice of sculpture is quite profound, and reflects humanity's deep concerns post-war about nuclear energy and its potential for both destruction and energy. It's installed in the audience hall where popes hold public gatherings, complementing the spiritual messages conveyed by the Pope. However, its dramatic and apocalyptic depiction has not been without controversy. Some suggest that the sculpture alludes to deeper hidden messages about the role of the Church. They interpret the choice of a nuclear explosion as an underlying message related to the destruction and the end times, which could be linked to apocalyptic or even demonic symbolism. Regardless of your perspective, Fazzini's Resurrection remains one of the most provocative modern artworks of the Vatican. The three secrets of Fatima refer to prophetic messages revealed by the Virgin Mary to three shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos, Francisco Marto, and Jacinta Marto, in Fatima, Portugal in 1917. These have been subjects of intense debate and interpretation within the Catholic Church and beyond. The first secret is a vision of hell, described by the children as a terrifying sight of souls, suffering, and eternal damnation. The second secret predicts the end of World War I and the onset of World War II, suggesting that without consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, it would spread its errors throughout the world, leading to further conflicts and suffering. The third secret is the most controversial. Initially kept confidential, it was revealed by the Vatican in 2000. This secret includes a vision of a bishop dressed in white, interpreted by many as a representation of the Pope, along with other religious figures suffering persecution. Critics argue that the released text may not fully encompass the original message, leading to ongoing speculation about its true contents. As this YouTuber entered an abandoned church in the middle of the night with a flashlight and a camera, cold chills began to run down his spine. It's unclear where he is, but it appears he's entirely alone. When he reaches the main hall of the church, at one point, he looks around and then sees something that frightens him to death. A pair of invisible eyes of a ghostly woman with a pale face stared back at the man. Initially, he brushed it off as paranoia, attributing it to an uneasy feeling from the dark environment he was in. It's already quite scary to visit a church at night, but encountering a ghost adds another layer of fear. With trembling fingers, he aimed the camera towards one of his pews, capturing the eerie visage of the woman sitting silently and staring at him. Her facial features, though obscured by the veil, were perfectly clear. With a choked cry, he turned and fled, the echoes of her anguish ringing in his ears as he made a swift escape. The suppression of the Knights Templar in the early 14th century is a complex historical event that involves significant political maneuvering, particularly by the Vatican. The Knights Templar was a medieval Christian military order founded in the early 12th century, known for its role in the Crusades and its financial acumen. Over time, the order amassed considerable wealth and power, which eventually led to its downfall. The suppression of the Templars was heavily influenced by King Philip IV. of France, who sought to eliminate the order due to its wealth and his desire to consolidate power. In 1307, under pressure from Philip, Pope Clement V initiated a series of investigations into the Templars, accusing them of heresy and other crimes. Despite the lack of substantial evidence, the Pope faced immense pressure to act against the order. In March 1312, Pope Clement V issued the papal bull Vox. In March 1312, the Knights of the Templar were suppressed, via Pope Clement V. Although the Pope acknowledged that there was insufficient reason to contend the order, he stated that the decision was made for the common good due to the intense animosity towards the Templars, and the scandal surrounding the trials. Two peculiar events are captured in this video. First, notice the eerie figure lurking in the background behind the person on the right. But this wasn't the only spooky thing that happened in the video. When the priest in the middle raises his hands, the plate beneath him starts moving, as if being pushed by an invisible force. Some believe that deep religious devotions can have physical effects on the surroundings, such as causing miracles through intense spiritual practices. While some subscribe to this theory, others remain skeptical. This creepy moment occurred during a traditional ritual practiced by various religious denominations, including the Orthodox and Catholic. The ceremony proceeded without any apparent interruptions, and the attendees were unaware of the unusual events until this video surfaced on the internet. Upon closer inspection, a peculiar movement can be observed in the object the priest is holding, although it may be attributed to pixelation. Some may chalk this up to a coincidence, but others say it's a manifestation of divine intervention. What do you think? In the serene darkness of the night, the Russian Orthodox Church stood as a beacon of spiritual comfort, its domes and towers illuminated in a soft ethereal blue glow. Inside, the faithful gathered for prayers with flickering candlelight and a scent of incense. Outside the church, a man captured the moment with a camera in which we see multiple angels seemingly to fly inside the church. Some people believe that the angels were drawn by the magnetic pull of the sacred gathering. Against the dark night sky, dozens of luminous angels descended, each shining with a supernatural brilliance, as if guided by invisible hands. Angels are often seen as heavenly messengers who mediate between the divine and the human worlds. For the witness outside, the sight was nothing short of miraculous, a phenomenon where the boundaries between the earthly and the divine blurred and merged. When a man approached the Vatican Church with his camera and joined the pilgrim and tourists, he managed to capture a dark figure in the distance. No one expected to encounter such a thing in broad daylight at one of the most historic churches in the world. As you can see, high up in the vaulted windows, there's one eerie silhouette, and it's looming against the backdrop of stained glass and ancient walls. The belief that the Vatican is haunted is not uncommon, fueled by a combination of its ancient history, religious significance, and numerous reports of paranormal experiences. Although the Vatican itself doesn't officially confirm or deny such claims, anecdotal evidence and stories passed down through generations contribute to this belief. One of the most famous alleged ghost sightings within the Vatican is associated with the figure of Pope Formosus. In the 9th century, Pope Formosus was famously exhumed and posthumously tried during the Cadaver Synod. According to legend, his spirit roams the Vatican, disturbed by the humiliation of the trial. Another notable incident is the reported appearance of a female ghost, known as the Lady in Black. According to stories, this ghostly figure has been seen in various places within the Vatican, often near the Sala Regia. The Vatican sculpture of the Resurrection is a striking modern artwork created by Italian sculptor Persili Fazzini. Displayed prominently at the Paul VI Audience Hall in Vatican City, it was commissioned in 1965 and completed in 1977. Fazzini's works deeply influenced by the historical context of the 20th century, particularly the nuclear bombings of Hiroshima in 1945. The sculpture depicts Jesus rising from a nuclear crater, symbolizing hope and resurrection amid nuclear devastation. The sculpture is noted for its dramatic and somewhat unsettling design, which some has described as demonic due to its intense portrayal of resurrection. Many Templar leaders were executed, and their assets were transferred to rival orders, notably the Knights of Hospitaller. Would you like to visit the Vatican, and what do you think they're hiding there? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.